Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Oliviabusby. Welcome to my channel. Um, I am a creative doula, um, an oracle reader, a channeler, and a theologian. Um, I offer personal tarot readings, oracle card readings, spiritual consultation, conversation, being a creative doula and the creation of self um and yeah um I am a theologian, theologically trained, and I wanted to expand on one of the videos that I have on my channel about black and indigenous ancestral process theology, and kind of do a reading to help me expand on my thoughts around it and how to, I was the plan that I have is to go through the context of it, process of the ancestral process theology in terms of time. It is based on like the nonlinearity of time, and so this like illusion of past, present, and future. Um, and so using the Lenormand deck, go through the context of this theology through the process. Process theology is the idea that the creation story is constantly happening and is happening right now and unfolding, and it is a constant process of creation. And so I'll start with the context of it through time. Then I will go into my DustIIOnyx deck and my clarify with you know what is the relationship to that and ancestry, why black and indigenous, why ancestral, um, and what the ancestry kind of has to do with it. And then I will end with my other Lenormand deck, um, and go into like the application of it and how to make it practical, and my archetype deck. But I want to go into like then how to make it practical. And so, yeah, I didn't plan. That's the only plan that I had. I didn't really plan out anything else. I'm just gonna kind of be musing and going off of the top to kind of expand on this, on my thoughts around it. I haven't really, I just graduated from school, so I didn't really want to necessarily take it straight to paper form. So I haven't written about it. It's just kind of been the one video I made on YouTube, and then conversations I've just had with myself. And I did make a presentation on it for a class, my process theology class, but I haven't really taken it down to paper. I didn't really want to. It's been a culmination of experiences that I've had, and I think I like keeping it kind of in that vein. So let's get started. This is the context of this through time. Okay. 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 This is funny. I'm just gonna be like completely surprised by what comes out and just riff off of it. Um, the first card that I got is the letter, then the ship, and then the woman. And I think this is interesting. The letter, all of this is making me think of an experience that I had. And I think this is the best way for me to explain it to is explain my experience with it and how it even just like came to be, because that's kind of will help us get into also how to make it practical. But So I was in my room and I was meditating. I had the plan to meditate and just do a simple meditation to the sound of ocean waves. And I'm laying on my bed and I start hearing ocean waves. And then in my mind's eye, I start seeing myself on like a shore. And there's like I see these huge ships coming in. And I knew through this meditation that it was, you know, the Middle Passage. It was ancestral. It was like my ancestors or African ancestors arriving on ships. And so I saw these ships come in. I saw, kind of people being pulled off of this ship. They're in chains. They're crying and just shocked and sad. And there's a lot of violence happening around. And I was standing there and I was like, I thought about the nonlinearity of time and I thought about, oh, hi, I'm an Aries. I'm an Aries sun, Aries rising. But I thought about the nonlinearity of time and I thought, if I am able to, in this meditation, see these ships come in and feel and see like these ancestors kind of come in, then, I felt like I had to do something for them. Um, I am live, y'all, so there's comment. I'm a Gemini moon. But yeah, so I saw these ships coming in and I was like, I have to do something. And so the only thing I could think to do was just to go around and like hug people. So I like just was walking around and like hugging people and like trying to in some way comfort. Um, I even had the thought of maybe going around and like killing some people. Like it was that serious. It's that serious. But so as I'm having this meditation, I was brought back into like my body in the moment in my room, and I thought like, damn, I kind of didn't feel like I did enough, and I didn't feel like it was kind of this feeling of like, how do I do more for them, or how can I ask my ancestors for healing when they went through that, or again back to the nonlinearity of time, are going through that in another space or time. And so um, my social media information is in the description box, or will be. Um, but then as I'm laying there, I started to feel like healed almost. And I noticed like my ancestors kind of standing around me. And yeah, they were like standing around me. And I felt like they were in some ways like healing me. And so that's what this is reminding me of. And they were females, because I remember in the meditation I was almost like I was noticing like pregnant women's bellies being like cut open and stuff. And so as these cards here are answering the question of like the context through time. And that's kind of the context through time. Like, one, this letter coming in, or this letter is like news and information that comes in. It comes through, it's a dove, so it's kind of like, this divine messenger. And many experiences that I've had, it's almost been like It's almost been like the sensations that I've had, or like these experiences in meditation, have been like divine messengers. And then I guess this context and time is, let me clarify. I'll clarify this too. The context and time is also reminding me that there's like, the woman is reminding me of this connection to like, the woman is kind of reminding me that like there's this almost connection to the body, like being like, there's this knowing that like when my grandmother was pregnant with my mother, I was in her womb too. And so there's this connection in time. So the context of time is the nonlinearity of time. The fact that the present moment is where we get our information. In this present moment right now, everything that I assume to have had happened in some past is at this moment based in memory. It's based in the sensations that came to my brain and the way my brain constructed a story around it. And it's all sensational. It's all in the body. And so considering that our sort of senses are based in our bodies, and our bodies is where our ancestry is. The there's certain ways that like that memories that we have can be stored through the body, even through memories that we didn't even have. Because you can have like past life memories, but you can even hold sort of like memories of your like family. I remember when I was doing a lot of work like every day to like um open my hips and like release the stored trauma in my hips. It was like I had these memories that were coming to my head. The context through time. I'm realizing this is kind of difficult. We got the Knight of Wands reversed. We got the Empress. And we've got the Ace of Pentacles. And so if I also look at the ship, it's movement, a journey, emotional, spiritual, physical, travel, distance, rite of passage. We've got the letter. Message, written communication, text message, correspondence, and then the woman. So the context through time. What is this Knight of Wands reverse? I don't know, with this, the letter clarified by the Knight of Wands, clarified by the World in reverse, both in reverse. Through the context of time. I'm kind of lost. Not gonna lie. The Knight of Wands is making me think about like it's fire and air. So this very like this movement of passion. With looking at this card, it's making me think maybe there's, with the dove in the air, it's like a lot of air. And then the World in reverse is kind of like not completing a cycle. Then we've got the ship with the Empress and Temperance in reverse. I'm getting just like the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. Okay, so I know for at least the middle one, the ship is this movement. The Empress is not much movement, to be honest, and the Empress is like Taurus energy, which can be very stable, very grounded. There's a lot of like movement here. I think it's just like overall this like ancestral process theology is like there's, as we've like moved through time, there's still this understanding and knowing that the information that we receive is like this is making me think of even Noah's Ark with the dove and the ship and the completion of cycles, or is it the number of days? I guess the context of time. The context of time is that these memories, this information, these messages, and knowing are kind of like stored. And they kind of have to like filter through the healing. And so largely in the context of time, there's need to like, it's like connecting to the body to heal the cycles. Yeah, I guess with that meditation that I got, and that's what largely is making me think of that, the meditation I had and how much that is like opened me to understanding, you know, one with the woman, that the seeds that I plant inside of myself with the Ace of Pentacles, and the healing and like passion I put in behind that with the Ace of Wands does reach throughout time. It's sent through time. And it's also making me think about how a lot of times, like I think that, you know, a lot of times I wonder, or there's this like wondering of like, how did our ancestors like make it across the Middle Passage and not like lose their minds? What kept them kind of like going in the trajectory? And I truly believe in the nonlinearity of time, that the meditation that I did with my ancestors reached them and they reached me. And so I guess that's the context of time. Relationship with ancestry, again, I got the Queen Mother, the Empress again, Temptation, the Devil, and the Eight of Blades in reversed. And that's, of course, the perfect card to come out, because this is the post-traumatic slave syndrome. So the connection with ancestry is, again, the Empress. And for me, it's been very connected to the feminine side of my family, the women in my family, and healing that aspect largely. There's been just an intense attack on that. The tie to ancestry, and the reason why I connected to ancestry and being Black and Indigenous is because in school, and especially in my like process theology courses, or especially my courses on, again, the Empress, going back to the Empress, Mother Nature and you know, our climate, our issues with and challenges with the climate, and how we're gonna even like sustain ourselves on this planet. There would be a lot of like nihilism, a lot of conversations of nihilism, and you know, it's this idea of like, oh well, it just doesn't matter. A lot of people, you know, would lean towards that, and I tried it on. It's appealing. I tried it on, but it would always come back to the idea that like, no, I'm Black. I'm in a female body, or I was assigned female at birth. I'm queer. I'm, you know, woman. All of that, all of the things that I can sort of like attach myself to an identity, or especially in terms of like my connection to my body and the processes that I go through. The Queen Mother is very about like fertility, and I have a uterus, and I'm Black, and I'm indigenous. Like there's an indigeneity to all of that ancestry would not allow for me to be nihilistic. And it is that devil energy of like, I have attachments. Like if you have that type of experience where you literally feel your ancestors come and like heal you as they're going through what they went through, and as you're going through it that you went through, and not even trying to, and there obviously is a comparison of like the experiences, but they're not even comparing the experiences. They're understanding how your empress, or like fertility and growth, is completely tied to the healing of this post-traumatic like slave mentality, and this is all working like in the headspace. And so it's just I couldn't be nihilistic. It didn't fit me. Especially looking into like Black spirituality, there's always this idea of um I believe that we will win, or the blues or gospels or spirituals, and like this larger idea that there is a heaven space, and that heaven space can be heaven, or it can also be just like a healing space, or there is some place where we have won, we are rested, we can relax. And I do not think that that is just some blind hope. After that experience I had, I don't think it's blind hope. I think it's tied to time travel and the nonlinearity of time and clairvoyance and visions. And I think it's because, how else do you get through the difficult things that ancestry get through? You completely tied to nature, because they're literally like laboring in and with nature. Um, Herbalists and farmers, OG agriculturalists, and having visions in the hot sun, like having visions. And I think these visions were the things that kind of like showed them what was to come. And so I don't think this is like a blind faith thing. Um, you got the queen mother with the daughter of pentacles. Temptation with the Three of Pentacles. And so, yeah, it definitely is like a collaborative effort, the tie to, and I think, especially talking about white people, I think if white people were to connect more with their ancestry and ask the questions of like, who were my people, and what was their relationship to the world and nature and their bodies and other communities around them before they were white. And I think if white people were to have the curiosity to like look into that and look into, like, who were you before you were, that Toni Morrison video where she's like, who are you when you're not, thinking you're better than someone because you're white? Who are you before you were white? Who are you before you were, who are you when you're not standing on the shoulders of someone, or whatever? It's a great video. I suggest, maybe I'll find it, prefer not. But if you can look it up, like, it's Toni Morrison talking about, like, who are you when you're not white? Who are you without whiteness? And I think because this is something that, we're all at different levels, different ways, healing from post-traumatic slave, maybe not post-traumatic, but the post, and again, what is post? Because there's slavery happening right now, but it's just like giving different looks, different like cycles, different ways. Like when you're dead, you just kind of look different. Like your body's decomposing and you're moving into a different space. And so it's like slavery hasn't died, it's just transforming. Because death is a card of transformation. And so yeah, it's just this way, like we're all healing from that. Who were white people before they were white, and how did, like, just think of the absolutely disgusting things that white people would do during enslavement, the disgusting things that they had to overlook, the disgusting conversations that they had to be a part of and ignore and not empathize with, and the way that you can, like, what level of humanity do you have to be at to dehumanize someone enough to cause like immense genocidal violence to them? It's time for white people to like ask those questions and actually get curious about their own healing work and process. And so that's why I've kind of called it ancestral process theology, because it's a process for them too. And it's a process that it's just going to be a full collaboration. The temptation card, the devil with the 3 of coins, is like where, as much as like when I was first doing like a lot of activist work, I wanted to think that maybe we could go onto some utopia where only the Black people lived. And I had to realize, like, no matter where we go, even if I go to an island where only the Black people are, there's still misogyny, there's still whiteness, there's still white supremacy, there's still homophobia, queerphobia, there's still patriarchy, there's still like, we cannot, there's like I'm thinking of ancestry as like a wave in an ocean. It's like it's all part of the like ocean of the human subconscious. The cards on the bottom of the decks are, the bottom of this deck was the crossroads. This one is the 2 of staffs, which is also a sort of crossroads card of making a decision, a visionary decision. You're standing on stilts, getting a higher look out. It's I wrote a poem about this where you stand on stilts to sort of get a view of what's to come. It's like a visionary look, which I again was talking about ancestry and how this is tied to time, and how I think our ancestors were literally like getting that look on stilts, that visionary look, that like look beyond. And then there's a way that you then get down from those stilts. And that moves us to our next part, which is how to make it practical when you've gotten that vision of how time is not linear. And the visions that my ancestors were getting when they got off of ships, or when they were on ships, or when they were in fields, or when they're whatever was happening in their lives, the visions that they got of people being able to rest, being able to like be themselves in a certain way, and actually do like really deep-seated healing, was probably visions of me and us at this moment. And so then how do we practically move forward when we've done, because a lot of this was comes from my frustration of like, we've done enough protesting and action and doing and canvassing and all of the doing, like I got really discouraged in undergrad when I realized, oh yeah, this isn't, I just don't think it's gonna work anymore. The constantly, it's just like when are we gonna realize that it's like at a certain point, the best way to deal with a narcissist is to remove yourself from them. And yeah, we can't completely just like I said, hop on a ship and all black people or whatever leave. But there's like I think of the decolonization process, removing yourself from the like collective subconscious of whiteness and all of the isms and the systems and structures, oppressive systems and structures. There's like a withdrawal that needs to happen, especially monetarily, because all of this is connected to money and resources and labor over land and the earth. And so it came from my frustrations of just like, I really don't think that the doing, the protesting and the canvassing and the let's go out and vote, I think we're just in a different time. Like that cycle, you can go on the cycle of the fool to the world over and over again, but if you're not learning anything, there's like you gotta like at some point like do something different. And I think the doing something different is, well, let's see. X, X, X. The lily expand. Exactly. This card asks you to reevaluate what you've lost or are losing to be safe. What you've pruned to be palatable, to be liked. What if the parts of yourself you were told to sand down, cut off, and silence are your best parts? What if the validation you've been promised isn't worth the compromises you've been making? If you've been aiming for a seat at the table, build your own fucking table. One where you can be heard, seen, and affirmed. One whose cups and plates are spilling over with generational abundance owed. Don't lose too much of yourself out here trying to fit into narrow spaces. This card is about centering pleasure in your human experience unapologetically. Why are we encouraged to center generational traumas before generational gifts? Why do they want to see our pain before our pleasure? Prioritizing pleasure is revolution. After generations of sacrifice and the policing of Black bodies, Black culture, and Black joy, go on and live your best life. What act of pleasure will you indulge in today? And yeah, like all shout outs to Audre Lorde and the uses of the erotic. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's going to be, it's like they feed off of our fear and our pain and I just think at a certain point, like, what would it look like to just withdraw from that bullshit and go live our best lives? Like, I've been really thinking, especially economically, like, what if instead of worrying about what the fuck Walmart and Amazon and shit are doing, if we like actually looked at the generational gifts that we have, and the generational gifts is looking at what that they did, like if we are fugitives in this space, like what were maroon societies doing? Bartering. Who like in the neighborhood knows how to like make clothes or you know do plumbing stuff, like who has different gifts and how can we like barter those gifts off, and housing and or even just first like centering the pleasure to be able to like go out and have a conversation with your neighbor. It's like really deep seated shit, but like I think yeah, centering generational gifts over generational trauma. There's so much like emphasis on the trauma, but again, despite their best attempts at genocidal extinction of at least the soul of Black folks and Indigenous folks and brown folks. Despite all of that, we're like still here. And that didn't happen because of our trauma. It happened because of our gifts and the moments that we do find like pleasure. Especially in this moment where we can find pleasure everywhere, but like where do we find like deep-seated pleasure? The next card is book, knowledge. Knowing the right thing in the wrong time is dangerous. Please understand the necessity of trusting spirit to reveal to you what you need to know presently. You may be very eager to learn as much as possible in as little possible time. What others have kept you from knowing kept you at their mercy. But that is not what the ancestors do. Don't confuse those who benefit from your ignorance with those who have invested their lives into saving yours. If asking the same question in divination isn't garnering the answers you seek, it's best to step back and ask, ancestors, what do you need for me to know right now? And I think that this is important because we can think about what the collective needs to do to move forward, but on a wave of like, what can I actually control, and thinking about what I can actually control, and asking the question, what do I need to know right now in this moment? It like really like localizes you. It also, and in that localization, it's the crown. It's all in the crown chakra. And so you're kind of, the crown chakra is all about how the present moment, because of the nonlinearity of time, being in the present moment, being in meditation opens you up to all moments. And so when you are in that present moment, you are able to like hear different things and gain different knowledge and just be aware of exactly what you need to be aware of right now. There's so many. The Empress is making me think of the Garden of Eden too, and how like there's so many distractions. The Garden of Eden story, in terms of like, I've been reading I was reading it from what's it called? The Gnostic book, the Gnostic Bible. And in that story, they're like kicked out of Eden into a world of distractions. And so like all the distractions that we had, like what if we were all the distractions of all the pleasure that we can find, and what does it look like to look for like, and knowing like what like actual pleasure we need to be moving towards. And this is one of the first cards that I picked from this deck when I got it, and like just being very present. It also ignites the idea that like we're not doing this alone. There is like a collaboration effort. The information comes to us, we grab it in the present moment, do something with it, and then and then the cycle happens of gathering more information. The transformation happens, we die, we come back. There's just being very present and not having to know and all the time like everything that's happening everywhere, because it can be a distraction to exactly what you need to do. And there's like a being present in your body and your purpose and your path is purpose. Especially thinking about like the sun has one job to do, and that's its purpose. The little microorganisms on a grain of sand have one purpose, and that's their job. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to time. A lot of the time, things that made me think about the nonlinearity of time and how that works was thinking about quantum particles. And if quantum particles are what makes up all of our reality, quantum particles can be in multiple places at one time. They can appear and disappear. They can move backwards in time and forwards in time. And it's just very like moving around time. And so if we're made up of the quantum stuff, and if things are as infinitely small as they are infinitely big, then what is quantum? There could be some other space that's looking at us at like little quantum particles just moving around, I don't know. The scale of it is nothing we can really wrap our heads around. But yeah, this idea of time and like where you are in this present moment, especially if you get into a quantum type of field, it's like meditating and tapping. Meditation is kind of like tapping into the allness of you, like being so present in, when you're meditating and you can even feel like the tiny little ways that your body moves. Like you can feel your skin, you can really get down to like the quantum particles or the become aware of the quantumness of yourself or whatever. Yeah, so that's also like relative to time. Like transition. You're entering a period of transition where you're either physically or spiritually covering great distances. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Quantum. Quantum. During this time, you can expect sudden revelations, deep shift, and major changes to your daily reality. If you find yourself becoming overwhelmed, try the mantra: this is happening for me, not to me. Better is coming, progress is forward. Let these events unfold and resist the urge to cling to the past, no turning back. And so yeah, it's quantum, like tapping into that through meditation to be that little quantum particle that is like simultaneously laying in bed while simultaneously on some shore hugging their ancestors, while simultaneously sitting in bed and having their ancestors be with them. Like it's all happening at once in one moment. And just being present in that moment will open you up to everything that you need to know. And you don't need to know everything, but at least knowing where you stand on the path of that purpose and that movement forward is enough. And so a lot of nihilism comes from like being overwhelmed by all of it. It can also come from a lot of saviorism, feeling like, oh, well, if we can't save the world, then what's the point? Now we're nihilistic and we don't give a fuck about anything. And that's just, you have a very core connection to all the moments that you need to be in and every moment that you are in. And that's literally enough and everything at the same time. Um, and so, yeah, my thoughts on like Black or ancestral process theology. And I think I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, in the description box, there is information about my social media. Um, I have two Instagrams, the omb.frequency and livvblacc. Both of them are accessible to book readings with me. My TikTok, the YouTube is this. This is the YouTube. You found it. Congrats. And Yeah, information, my email to like book readings with me. If you go to my Instagram and look at my highlighted story, that's where in my recent posts too, I do a lot of Instagram lives. Um, I go live on Instagram, so check me out there. Um, and so there'll be other videos there, and then also, um, what else? But yeah, if you look at my highlighted stories and my most recent posts, and in my post, you'll see like my list for booking a reading with me and how to book a reading with me and what kind of like, the price list and what I offer. I'm also, again, very open to bartering. So if the money is not there, the dollar sign is not there, but let's say you have another um, service to offer, or you make something or whatever. I'm open to bartering, and so yeah, please like check me out there to book me for a personal reading. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me figure out my thoughts around this, and just kind of update on like how far I've gotten with thinking about it. So yeah, thanks.